Just watch on.
We're hot.
Hey, good evening, everybody, from Model Railroading Live. This is Big Bill coming to you on June 5th, 2019 for Who's Big Bill Talking To? Tonight, we'll be talking to a special guest, Gary Corbin, there he is, and in a moment, we'll be talking to him. So, before we start, let's just say that tomorrow's Thursday, which it is. That's how it usually follows in progression: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend. But tomorrow on the 6th is Johnny's Train Talk Show, where you, the audience, community, can join in if you're working on a project or if you want to share something. I know I say this all the time, but you guys are more than welcome. Some of you new guys out there, try to jump in and partake down at Johnny's General Store there. You can sit down with John and chat away, have some a little cool beverage, and play little checkers with them. Anyway, we're kind of slowing down a little bit as we come into the summer months. It's a little warm here in New York City. Today it was a little muggy, but we got a little breeze coming in through the train room. So that's a good thing, because with the lights and everything, it's yeah, so we're getting a little bit of it. Anyway, here we are tonight. Who's Big Bill talking to? And we're talking with Gary Corbin. Gary, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Bill.
Hey, quite welcome, man. I saw Gary's. I got in touch with Gary because Gary's getting back into model railroading, and I saw him on one of his videos. His channel is called. It's one of those real difficult long titles. What is it called?
No, it's just Gary Corbin. Just Gary Corbin. Just my name. Yeah. I call it Pack Rat Route. Is what I call my railroad. So
why is it called the Pack Rat? Why do you?
Just been pack rat and stuff for years, decades. Even little parts and things for the railroad. So I just called it Pack Rat Route. Just
okay. Well, anyway, I saw Gary on his video. I happen to be, and again, my sincere thanks to Wilmer, Indian.
Yep. Wilmer, yep.
Right, Wilmer, Indian Head Valley Railroad. Once again, went through his selections of who's hot and who's not bad.
Yeah.
And he had Gary there, and I was looking at Gary's video, and Gary's video had a thing on doing cement. He was doing a cement plant on his layout, and he was doing it with sandpaper, for the outer buildings, and to give it that rough textured look. And I sent him an email, and then we just corresponded back and forth. And then I just asked if he'd like to get on, and always get the same response. Me? Why me?
I'm new guy.
New guy in the block. I don't know anything about anything.
I'm not, like I said, I never even chatted to anybody, about model railroading before. So, before you. So,
well, this is the reason why we do this. Who's Big Bill talking to? Because sure, we can get the big names on here. We can get famous people on it. We can get Rod Stewart if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's quite the character, Rod Stewart. I've known about him and his model railroading for years as well. But that little last bit with that with those British kids, trashing those layouts and him donating that money. That was something else. That was nice of him to do that. Yeah,
what happens when you can't control your liquor?
He's supposedly having a movie or something coming out about his model railroad. Also, he done some filming about it or something that I read while that trashing incident happened. Also, there was another thing that I read but I haven't seen anything yet. But that'll be interesting to see. Because he spent years building that thing up. So,
well, anyway, your railroad. Now you just. Mm-hmm. Let's get a little background here. You and your brother had a railroad together.
Yeah, we started one. It was more kind of like a winter project. It was going to go in an 8x10 shed, and it just kind of went to project. We're both heavy equipment operators, so once spring came, we're back to work, and then it just kind of got pushed aside. But I don't know, about 2 years ago, I went and snagged all that stuff and started doing just layout on my linoleum floor in here in this room, and drawing and collecting cars and switches and stuff, and just doing drawings. And this is what it's come to now. It's in a 13 by 13 room, and I wanted to build a cement plant because everybody else has coal yards, and intermodal yards seem to be the popular thing nowadays. Also,
Oh, the intermodal yards with the
yeah,
trucks.
yeah, for the container yards, and but I wanted a cement plant, because it covers all kinds of different aspects of rail industry as well as semi industry, and it's just they're huge, massive, so you don't have to worry about scale so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can kind of build big, and N scale is really. I'm used to 1/35th scale for military models that I've built in the past, but N scale is a little more challenging, So, but
Right.
it's working out though. I'm enjoying it.
So it took you when we talked the other night, you were planning this for what, 15, 16 months? Gathering?
Yes, yeah. I've got a graph paper book that's half full of drawings and sketches and notes and different things that I've done uh, previous to building this, and then also knowing, being in the construction trades, that it's a lot of the stuff you have to do in as build. It's just you just kind of have to flow with it. So uh,
Explain
it,
that. Explain that.
well, just your grades. You think it's going to work out. That it's going to start here or end here, and it just doesn't. So you kind of have to float things in, just like a construction trade. Looks good on paper, but when it actually comes to building it, the guy's building it. It's there's other ways to. It's like it's not going to work out quite like that. But.
There's other ways.
It still gets built, and it still gets built well. Uh, I did use a lot of scrap lumber and pieces from other projects that I tore apart. Like I had another bench top that ended up using 3/4 inch plyboard, which why waste wood? Wood's wood. It's still take screws out, put screws back in, cut whatever. But so I reused a lot of scrap board on this also to put it together, which I don't know. It worked out well, I guess.
Now, does your layout, as from what I can see, what you're sitting and it's behind you?
Yeah,
Is it attached to the wall itself on those?
yeah. It's all attached to the wall. I've also got a couple legs. They'll have a couple legs in it also coming out. There's one right behind me that I just used a piece of old pipe to run down. A leg is a leg. My son laughed at me about that. He said, "You're something else, Dad." And I was like, "Well, a leg's a leg, I mean, it's not like it's going to collapse or anything." So,
If it
but
works, if it works.
yeah, I mean, it's just it's like I got another piece over there that I use. It's a bent piece of 2x2. It's got a big dog leg in it. So it doesn't matter. It's holding up the other side. But that'll eventually get fixed out because that's on the other half that I still have to build. So
So now that this layout's all in N scale, right? Now,
yes, yeah,
now the
correct.
room that it's in, how big is the room?
13 by 13.
Oh, so for an N scale layout, that's
Yeah, it's got some good room. I kind of estimated uh on my drawings anyway that I'm probably going to use about 325 feet of track altogether. That's counting the switches and everything. But I've kind of added a couple of things now, I guess, so I might end up with 350 feet. It all depends on what I do with the other side, the west wall yard, how many switches I end up putting in there. Right now, I've kind of got an estimate of about 16 switches over there. So up here, I've got 22, I think, altogether on this because I added 5 more the other night. So,
okay.
Like I said, I've got 95, about 100 cars, 2 bay covered hoppers. So I got to have some place to put those.
What in regards to now the overall the central focal point here will be your cement plant.
Correct. Yep. Correct. And I've got another idea. I mean, the other part, I wasn't sure what I'm going to do yet, but I've kind of got a hook on. It's a P&H 4100 XPC, which what that is, it's a big, huge mining shovel, and they make one in N scale. It's $250, $300, but if you look at it right now, I probably got about $300 worth of modeling kits into the cement plant, probably plus that, So I mean, you can rack up just as much money on structure kits and stuff as you can say something like that. So I'm pondering it, putting it over on the west wall. It's a pretty neat tractor. It's a heck of a mining shovel. And then they also make Shapeways. There's a couple of guys that make the 797 haul truck that will go along with that as well. So it's still something that I'm pondering, but it would look kind of cool on the other side of the layout. It would give the whole layout, the whole basically what a cement plant is. I mean, it would even from the raw material.
Ralph, our good friend Ralph Renzetti up north wants to know how big is the cement plant on the layout?
It's in the back in the corner, which is behind me. That's about a 4x4 area, and then it goes along the east wall, which again those are 13 feet from corner to corner. So, yeah, it's a big spread. Originally, I was just going to try to do the corner and come out just a little bit, but last week I figured on. I mean, even when I was drawing this up, I kind of had the vision of using the whole wall for the plant, but as I was building it, I thought, well, maybe not. Maybe I should shrink it down because it's just too big. But once you start building it again, then you start seeing that where you got to put the different structures and things in. So it's evolved again.
It always does. It always does. But this cement plant is going to be from the making of cement.
Yeah, Portland. Yeah,
Portland cement, correct?
Yeah.
So it's going to be the making of cement.
Yeah.
The all the way to the finished product.
Well, basically, there's the cement plant's basically Portland, and then from there it goes and that's when you make concrete, and concrete is when you add the aggregate, your sand and your gravel. That's basically there's two different words that basically mean the same thing, but cement is just the raw powder that makes a mess when you blow it in the air, like flour. So that's what this is, and then it also have a that was one thing that I really wanted in it, so I could incorporate boxcars. Was the bagging facility that they bag and palletize the 90-pound sacks of Portland. So that's incorporated in there in a large structure right up front there, and that's another thing too with the preheating tower. I originally designed it; it was going to be in the back, but then I started thinking about it. I had kind of push everything around because it was putting it in the back, and I'm spending so much time building it. I didn't want it to be pushed in the back, So right. I put it up more of an up front where you can see the detail a lot better in it. So
right. Now, most of this cement plant, is this going to be some of these buildings are going to be scratch built, or you're going to kit bash some of the buildings?
Some of it's scratch build. The larger structures, I have built a couple just out of chipboard, some rear structures, but the main buildings, I guess, will be kit bashed. And I'm kit bashing 3, 4, 5 kits right now, six Walthers kits right now. And that's just because they have pipes in one kit, or it's got different details I'm robbing parts as well as other parts that I scrounge from medical devices and pen tops and whatever, just small things.
Oh, cool, man. So you're cannibalizing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like to make the cylinders and hoppers and the cyclones and things like that, or just pieces cut from other plastic pieces and shapes. Like for the cyclones, I'm using uh, light bulbs they're kind of, they're the pointy light bulbs for your ceiling fan. They're conical shaped, so just put that. It looks like a cyclone, so why not just go with it? Once it gets painted, put some evergreen strip on it and paint it up. Nobody never know, except for me, which I like to tell them that's a light bulb. Really?
Oh, that's
that's the bottom of a medical pill vial, So
yeah, no. That's the best part, because people think that you need to have all this, go out into the hobby shop and spend money, when in actuality the stuff is right in front of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of detailed parts just around you, just small little parts, just I don't know. It's like things. That's what I mean. Things like that. I've been pack ratting for years. I got boxes of small little intricate parts and springs, and there's also this has got cement plant. It's got a kiln to it. Also, it's a rotary kiln, and they're upwards of 150 feet plus long in length. But I'm going to have that motorized, so it goes around also, and they also incorporate used tires into it. So I'm going to have a small part off to the side that'll have the used tires, and then when it goes around, it'll have an opening that you'll be able to see, and I'll have a flash in that so you can see the actual kiln burning inside. So,
nice.
But that's how those operate. They also do medical wastes and things like that, and some of them do other type of waste as well. But to do that, you also have to have the ventilation system, the gas systems and stuff put in. So because they're real big, EPA just hammers cement plants nowadays, because they are probably one of the worst polluters in the world. But they also one of the probably the factories that make the most product in the world, and it's also the most used. Concrete, everything's used in everything. So
True.
and kiln plants are like that, as well, for gypsum and plaster of Paris. Everything's it's got to be heated. The minerals got to be heated to make the clinker. So,
let me say hello to a few people that have come in.
All right.
We got Eric Hall in the house. IMRRO.com. Hello, Eric. Whatever Works Railroad is in the house. I think he's a new viewer, if I'm not mistaken. David at BNSF N-Scale. That's the pile of 2 bays. Yeah. Hey, it's birthday for Andy Crawford. Happy birthday, Andrew. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Andrew. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Hastings BNSF N-Scale modeler. Hello, everyone. Very interesting topic. Dave Piper. Hello, all. Yeah, just to recount, I have Who's Big Bill talking tonight is Gary Corbin. His model railroading channel on YouTube is aptly called Gary Corbin.
Yep.
And AKA the Pack Rat. And he the Pack Rat Route.
Yeah, Pack Rat Route. Yeah.
Guys. And Gary's models an N-Scale, and he's in a 13 by 13 foot room. So that absolutely gives him enough trackage and space. But I'm sure,
I've also got a 9-foot couch in the room also that I sleep on all the time. And so I had to make room for that. That was always in the plan. That and a 2x2 table that I got here, the end table. So that I'll tell you, that was one thing when I was drawing this. Those squares were always there on that graph paper. When I got sick, came down when I had to go on dialysis. I was on peritoneal dialysis for a while, and I had to have a machine to pump the fluid in and stuff, so I had to stay on the couch. I couldn't go upstairs and sleep with the wife, so I'm just got used to sleeping on the couch. So it's where I'm at now.
Yeah, one of the challenging things that Gary faces is, like he just said, Gary he has to do kidney dialysis at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's all fun and games, but unfortunately it is not. And afterwards he's kind of debilitated and
Yeah, just kind of discombobulated, just
yeah.
there's kind of a ringing in your head. Sometimes you get cramps and real severe headaches and stuff, but sometimes not. But most of the time you do. You get something. But it is what it is, you just wait for the next day.
Understandable.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate situation, and we wish you all the best, and we'll keep you on our prayers.
It's been almost 7 years this September, so
Right.
it's going good. So
all right. So, but that's one of the challenging things to just doing model railroad. Some of us, we just say, "Oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow because I'm tired." But here you're, working against, your body's working against you. And,
yeah. Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
The mind wants to get up and start, putting track down and throwing some switches down, but the body's going, not today, Gary.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, there's even times, I my legs get cramps in them sometimes, but most of the time, though, I do feel pretty good, though. I got to admit that it's been a heck of a challenge. The first couple of years of this was pretty rough. I had a lot of surgeries and yeah, it was. But I'm fortunate because I'm able to pee. So
well, there you go.
You got. I'm serious. That's what dialysis is. Is your kidney failure. You can't pee no more, so you can't drink. You can't hardly drink anything. So that means you got to stay in the air conditioning out all the time because they don't want you sweating. And you can't do. You're really restricted on what you can do. So
right.
That's one thing because that's one thing I got to watch about them too is sucking too much moisture off of me. Because they dehydrate me real bad, So
right.
There's a fine balance and in
all that you do model railroading.
Yep. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. Well, the bench work is a little rough sometimes, because I have a big fistula on my arm here. I'm not gonna show you. It's kind of grotesque, but so you kind of got to watch that. You can't be over. Sorry about that. Can't be over exerting. So. But it is what it is, So you just keep driving on.
Hey, you got lemon, so you made lemonade. Okay.
Yeah. It took me a couple of years to get up to this, to want to build the model railroad. I guess. For one, it was the room. I didn't want to put it in this room to start with, because a few years back when I first got sick, I was thinking about it, and I was like, no, I want to save it for a shed. I want to put it outside in a shed, and eventually, this is what it is.
There you go.
It's just I'm not going to get any better. I don't want to get a transplant or anything like that either, because like I tell everybody, I'm still able to dance. I can still pee. Don't mess with me. I don't want you guys to try to limit the cutting.
Right.
Now, if I was horizontal or something, then I might think about it. But
absolutely,
I don't know.
I hear you.
I don't know.
I hear you. So with this now, is this when you? Well, first and foremost, let me get back to saying hello, Cloverdale Rail, my friend Marcel. How are you, brother? How's everything? CNL Lines. I think he left. I guess that's my clue to leave. Have a good one. I don't know why he left. But I don't think it was anything that we said. I hope it wasn't anyway. Okay, Butch Jeski is here. Hello. Andy Crawford said, thanks, brother. I probably should have encouraged you not to sing, but I do appreciate the sentiment. What's the matter? I got a good voice. Come on, bro. Eric Hall says at imrro.com says, I would suck at that. I'm very sweaty boy. I can soak a shirt in about 10 minutes.
I'm soaked right now too. So
So Ralph Franzetti wants to know: is the layout one level, or does it have some grades to it?
It's got some grades. That's another thing that it took a little finagling to figure out, was trying to keep everything at 2% or below. Uh, it's this top grade here between the cement plant and really the main line is about, I think it was 3/4 of an inch, and then it does drop back down. I think the height difference in it was about 4 inches altogether between the lower yard will be the lowest point, and then it goes back up from there, and it's probably about a 4 inch difference. Yeah, so that was one thing that drawing it out was trying to keep them 2% grades. That was quite a little bit of a challenge, I guess. But it worked out pretty good. Like I said, that's another thing too. It's one of those as build things that it is going a little further than I thought. That my plan, it's going to go a little further, and we're going to see how it's going to meet up over here on this west wall, and it's going to have a little dog leg drop down bridge in it also around the door.
The door, right?
Around the door it'll drop down there, and that'll be where it kinds of little dog leg turn there also. So that'll be I don't know. I've been watching a couple of you guys' videos on your lives when you've done some shows a couple weeks back, and you're talking about drop down bridges and lift ups and everything. So,
right, good.
But
don't be
trying to get some. I mean, I've thought about it with some contacts and using some adjustable furniture brackets possibly. But original plan was to have two rails on that. It was going to be a double main on that part, but then once I started building, I thought it'd probably be just better just to leave a single line on it. That way it'd be easier so you don't get anything out of whack. You know what I mean? I live in an old house, and it likes to move in the wintertime. So, so that's why I'm kind of doing that like that. I don't know. This is all new to me, so it's just my idea. Sometimes I tend to overthink things. So,
you know what, Gary, I think you're on the right course. I think you're on the right path there, because it doesn't matter. It changes. It evolves. The layout, you put it on paper, like you said.
Yeah.
Put it on paper, it looks good, and then when you start building it, you say, that didn't seem like, and then you change it as you go.
Yeah.
So, it's just something that evolves, and then it gets to, even like I can tell you, and I'm sure the guys out there who have layouts, the South Brooklyn here, once it was up and the track was laid, according to the Bill Baronic, the guy who planned this and laid it out for me, it said, I want to do this. I want to put a rip track in, and I want to put the junkyard in. And his advice to me was, hey, it's your railroad. Do what you want to do. But as Ralph Ronzetti says, you got to have fun regardless how you do it.
Yeah.
And it's always the same thing. It comes back to, no matter what's going on in your life, your life can be chaotic chaos and falling down around you. But then you walk into the layout room and peace.
Yep. Yeah.
So you get it. Now you live in Illinois.
Yeah.
Is that the correct way to say it?
Illinois. Yeah. Illinois. Yeah. Illinois.
That's from Brooklyn, not Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but now you have a lot of trains that go through your area.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Galesburg here. Back in the day, it was the place where Burlington Northern and Santa Fe crossed. They each had their own Amtrak station back in the day. Actually, BN, they had a Grand station. But once they kind of went out, they transferred all the traffic over to Santa Fe rail on the Amtrak. And so they weren't using that building. It was made out of Purrington pavers, beautiful brick, right out of the Purrington yard over in East Galesburg. But the city decided to tear it down. They did the sneaky thing back in, I think it was early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. They did the sneaky thing and did it at night. They brought the wrecking ball and the crew in at night, started tearing it down, and then it's just too late, So but now the city wishes they would have never done that. So but but
Hindsight
the
is
but the
20.
Amtrak station is now back on the BNSF line. They have a huge hump yard out here also, and a huge diesel shop where there's always just, I don't know, hundreds of locomotives. So there's plenty of trains around Galesburg.
Yeah. Good. Imagine. Whatever. I'm trying to see here. Oops. Whatever works railroad. He says, yes, I'm new here, just getting started with N scale. Well, welcome to the crazy train. Whatever railroad, whatever works railroad. That's cool. Eric Hall of IMRRO com says, it looks to be N scale. I'm going to use the HO Walter cement complex and print out N scale doors. The HO plant works better for N scale than it does for HL. Good point. Let's see. Ralph Renzetti, you gotta have fun. Galesburg is a cool place to watch trains. That's Dave and BNSF N scale. Eric Cole says, I've made changes, lots of them. After Joe G terrorized my yard in LaGrange, I had to update the yard. Joe G and Marcel promised to come back.
Actually, I watched Eric Hall's video yesterday or the day before yesterday or whatever. It had Joe G on it. Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Comical?
Yeah, it is what it is, I guess.
He puts out good content.
Yep. I've watched a lot of Eric stuff, especially when I first got into model railroading. I went to YouTube and was looking around and stuff. Eric came up and a few other guys as well, and learned some stuff off of them. But I don't know. I do a lot of just research. For the cement plant is just pictures and a little bit of reading. Comes along with to try to figure out what's what. So.
Well, that's the best part of this, I think.
Learning a little bit too is a good thing about this. Learning
I got an email from Larry Ryan. Larry Ryan, we had is an O scaler, and I met him up in Massachusetts at the big show on January, and he was on the show doing his O scale presentation that he does in the show that he does at the clinics, and he sent me an email today, and he was wondering if I could give him some direction he's researching 1900s foundries in Brooklyn, New York. So I went onto the Brooklyn Historical Society page, and I didn't think I was going to find anything, but then I found like a half a dozen, with photographs and photographs of today where the foundries buildings are still there, and they've been converted to apartments, and you can actually see the cornerstone on one Driggs down in Drigg Street Foundry, and it still has the cornerstone, and stuff. So it's pretty interesting to get into this stuff because once you start researching it, your railroad becomes alive.
Just adding different things. Like I said, it's not really. I'm not building a prototypical. I'm not modeling any certain thing. But there are a lot of old structures around Galesburg, like maintenance away sheds. There's one. Actually, there's two areas. They're old, retired. They haven't used them for years and years. That I'm going to take some pictures of, so I can post as well for guys. I still need to get over there one of these days to do that. But one of the sheds, though, I do want to try to kind of copy that, just because it's a cool looking shed, So, but there's all kinds of old rail served buildings around Galesburg that would just serve great for prototypical stuff. But like I said, I was going to try to incorporate some of that in, but on this side as well. But the cement plant's overtaking, and then now, like I said, also I might put an open pit mine on the other side. Like I said, it's pretty cool shovel, So I don't know. I'm still pondering it.
Where is that? Where? Who makes that?
It's I can't remember which company makes that. It's a P&H, which it's Komatsu. P&H basically Caterpillar advertises them also, but they make big mining. It's a AC or DC mining shovels. P&H 4100 XPC. They make them in HO gauge and N gauge also, and they're $300 model. It comes pre-built. One of you can get it weathered or not weathered, and then like I said, also you can get on Shapeways. You can get the large 797 mining truck, which I think you might be able to get a 793 also, which isn't as big as the 797, but I think 797 I think is like 300 tons or something like that it hauls. Is something humongous, So
Right.
793 I think it'll hold three shovels full from the 41. So the
how much tonnage is that?
That's probably the 793 is probably a 220 tonner probably then, something like that. Because I think they're 60 ton buckets or something like that. I think is what those were, is what that is.
I was just reading something on that. They were excavating earth in England and just outside of London, England, for a nuclear power plant, and they had to excavate all this land. And they moved about 200 tons in like a week with these big pieces of equipment.
Oh, you can to buy like 200 million tons or something, Yeah, those things. I'm a heavy equipment operator, and I ran large excavators before, but nothing like that. That's sometimes that's. But I don't know, when you get into large heavy equipment like that and the bigger equipment. It's kind of cool to start with, but then after a while, it gets boring and repetitious. You know what I mean? Doing the same. So when I was operating, I was fortunate enough to be able to do different jobs and run different pieces of equipment. Working for the same company. So doing underground utility work and building water facilities, whatever. But it's fun work, and they pay really well. So.
Andy Crawford says that's one of the curses of being a model railroader, to overthink it. Also, the double track lift out, you may want to consider a gauntlet track.
No, that's why I'm just going to go with a single. Yeah, a single drop down. It's double just was like, because it was just going to start to be part of a siding. Is what it was going to be. It was going to be basically start into one and then be a double just so I could have length. But actually, I just decided to shorten it down. I'm not going to be running. You only really need a siding that unless you're going to have a double track all the way around. You don't need a 20-foot siding. You know what I mean? So.
Let's see here. Dave at the BNSF N scale says, "Love Eric's weight chart. I need it done in PDF." Eric Hall says, "Cool. I like doing the research stuff too. What makes it operate and why?" Ralph Renzetti says, "That's plus for freelance as well. How true to prototype do you want your layout to be?" And then let's see, P&H 4100 XPC 160 at scale. Not sure if the video link for this product showed up, but looks very cool. It showed up, yeah. If that's what you're talking about, it showed up there. The BNSF N scale says the 797F holds 400 tons.
Yeah, 400. Yeah.
Dave,
so the 93s are probably 300.
Post-op weighted tracker. I'm getting fatter again. Okay, but you know what? That's what you got to do, Gary. You want that? You got to go out. You got to tell family members, birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever holiday comes up, give me money. Give me money. Listen, money fits all.
Yeah.
And no one ever returns it. And the color is extraordinary. So no one. I stopped with my nieces and my cousins, not my cousins, but mostly my nieces, and nephews. I give them money, and they never say to me, Oh no, Uncle Bill, that's not what I wanted. Here,
Yes, that's not what I wanted. Yeah.
right. I used to get sweaters, and my
Mm,
wife would get it, and they'd be like, "Oh, we exchange later." We exchange. But cash is the king, baby. So let's send Gary some money, some checks.
yeah, don't worry about that. I do side work with my dad down at his tavern. He's had a small saloon, is what I like to call it, a small little tavern for since 1978. So, and he gives me $100 a day for going down there doing 6 hours worth of work or whatever, and also buys lunch. So, and
Gary,
that's one thing about my dad. If you work for him and he gives you money, you cannot turn it down. You will take that money.
yeah,
So I've tried it before, and so I just go with it. So whatever, and so I end up getting a little bit of cash off it. Pocket money is what he calls it. He needs some walking around money. So,
my father was the
because
same.
he knows it's kind of hard, being on I'm on Social Security now, so, but we make it work. The first couple of years was rough, along with my health and getting used to uh, a monthly paycheck that was used to be a weekly paycheck.
I know the
Uh,
feeling.
yeah, but it is what it is, and we
Overcome and adapt.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, we got our house paid off and everything. So not that it's a great house or anything, but everybody's got to live somewhere. It's an old house, but
Hey,
uh,
it beats being under the freeway in a
oh
carport.
man, I those L.A. they got something else going on out there, boy. Woo, that whole West Coast. That's they got some issues.
Yeah, but this is coming along really good, and this is the reason why I wanted you on the show, because you're just starting out. Now, we
Yeah,
get but you're out there, and it's not a pre-planned thing. It's something that you worked on for 15, 16 months, putting it together.
yeah,
It's changed, it's evolved, and you're doing it.
yeah. It's coming along nice. I mean, it's little by little. I mean, I want to say the first 4 or 5 weeks. I bet building up the bench work and everything. I worked on it every day. Even when I had to go to dialysis, I'd try to work on it just a little bit. Now it's uh, basically on my off days, I work on it more. Uh, and I do a lot of pondering, 'cause there's a lot of scratch building that I got to do with it and trying to fit pieces together and parts and make things and and then, like I said too, I do run a train back and forth around it, so I can get a feel of what the operations are going to be like on it. Because that's one thing I wanted to do. I guess we haven't talked about yet was the operations part of this. Is it's going to be there's going to be a lot of operations on this. That's how I designed this layout was for a lot of switching.
That was
Uh,
my next question.
yeah, well, there we go. Then, but
Man,
it's
you're Gary. You're psychic. What do you have? What do you have? ESPN?
yeah, just I guess it's one thing I haven't talked about yet, and is the operations. I've got right now. I have 52 switches, uh, and basically there's I think 49 of them have plans on the layout. But now that I've added five more, it might be 52, 55 switches. But then that depends on the lower yard. But it is designed for a lot of switching. One mainline run. Uh, Basically, it runs. If you look at it, it kind of runs, and there's an eight. It kind of runs outside loop and then an inside loop. Uh, so I can run a main line on it, and then have 2 yards: the cement plant yard, and then the lower yard, which would be the fiddle yard, more or less, where you change everything out, and then it goes round and round. And then I'll have the eastbound trains and westbound trains, so that and I've got two siding tracks, or each one I have to on each side of the layout also. So it is designed for switching mainly, but it's also got a runaround where it can have eastbound and westbound uh, loop trains running. So uh, I don't know. I got most of my information, I guess, just from the internet, reading some of the forums, not chatting with anybody, not doing, going, but kind of like Steve Brown, he's some of those forums can get kind of rude, when people guys are asking questions, and I didn't want to get involved in that. And a lot of stuff I was looking for anyway, I was looking for specific things, and I'd do my own search, and come up with what I wanted to, and then a lot of YouTubing, especially for your radiuses and grades, and then what is that? Railroad Boy, I think, is what he's got a grade calculator on that. That I've got his, I think, is what it is, the Railroad Boy or something like that. But so yeah, I've got my. It's turned out pretty good though. Like over here on behind me, where there's the main line is lower than the cement plant. I wanted that so that the things wouldn't, so your cars don't get lost in a flat. I wanted it to be an elevation change in it as well, so you can view it really well. And also on the main line down here, I did make it go up and down just slightly. There's some rises on each track, on the siding track and the main line. There's a little bit of a, so it kind of goes up and down. I didn't want to go side to side. That's, but the up and down, just to give it something fun to watch.
The Closet Branch, and good evening. Hello. I think Closet Branch is new here as well. He wants to know, what's the normal train length on your layout? What would be the normal train length? How many cars?
I don't know what. I've got it right now. It's just running on DC. Of course, I'm going to have DCC. But
I think he means the length of the train. Like, how many cars will you be running?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. I don't know how many I'll be able to pull, but I'm kind of averaging. I want about 20 cars roughly. So if I can get away with 16 to 20 cars would be kind of nice. That's why I'm trying to keep everything at the 2% grade, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it or not. It should. I mean, I tried it with just running on the DC engine, and I just pulled out some old Rapido couplers and just some car. I just put them all together, and it pulled 12 cars, no problem. And those cars were not tuned or nothing, and one of them won't even roll downhill on its own. so it was doing some dragging. So I think I'll be able to pull. All my sidings are 4 to 5 feet. So I mean, even my mainline siding, I think, is 6.5 feet long. So, but all my sidings up in the cement plant yard, I think, are 5.5, almost 6 foot long. So yeah, there's plenty of yard up there to switch out on, and then I've got short ones off to the side.
IMRO. Okay. IMRO. Com says, the daddy of all Sarin giant crane. Sarin's giant crane came to my work, and it built a new fab. I guess a fab building. There are pictures where it is completely overcast, but the boom is above the clouds and in the clear sky. Big of a crane. He also goes on to say, operations is what I think is the best part of the hobby. Dale PRR guy base says, hey, in capital letters, so this means he's yelling, hey, do what you want to do, with a smiley face. And Ralph Renzetti wants to know, how does that work, eastbound, westbound, when you face north-south? I don't know what he's referring
to. That's how my yard, it'll leave out on the west wall, or the east wall is how it. So that's why I just call it eastbound and westbound. It's eastbound and westbound is what a lot of the engineers call it anyway. They say they're going eastbound, but they're actually going to Joliet, Chicago, which is north, but it's eastbound train or westbound train. So
Dwight of Northern Stars in the house. He says, hey boys, ran Fairly 1222. He says, hi Gary. Sorry I'm late in joining your chat. Love your layout, your personal drive, and the trees. Seems your videos have dried up this last week. Mike.
No, I released a couple last what was it, Thursday or Friday. It's only been getting, like I said, I've slowed down building on this a little bit, plus scratch building. I'm not making how-to videos. I'm not going to show you exactly frame by frame how I'm building. I'm taking a lot of pictures, so I will have some picture videos to show, and descriptions and things, but I'm not building, excuse me, I'm not doing how-to videos and things like that, but just progress, and really haven't had that much yet, so, but I will be releasing another video here shortly on what I've got progress on the preheater tower and the cyclones and stuff. So,
Whatever Works Railroad says, I have no idea how I will have my layout other than a multi-level that staggers. That works. Dwight of Northern Stars. Andy, if you're listening, he has a question, a private question to ask, and he'd like to know if he could email you. There you go. Dave, the BNSF N scale, 2% grade. I got 60 car trains to run reliably.
Cool.
So it's possible. And if they're all tuned up and steel wheels and everything's going,
Yeah. So, I mean, if I can get 25 to 30 cars, that's why I made long sidings.
Right.
The more I can get, the more I'll have, so
I think that would be so cool looking to do that too.
Yeah.
It gives even though, you're working, you can't change the architecture of the room, like you can't blow the walls out. But here you got 60, not 60 cars, but here you got 20 to 30 cars running. It does give the illusion of big.
Of large, yeah.
Right, of large. So,
yeah. Yeah, like I said, but it's designed to hold 5.5 feet of cars. So, you got your 3-inch, that's 25 cars or 20 cars or so. So that's the 2-bay hoppers. Yeah, with the cement plant, it runs coal, and it runs other minerals, silica sand, even iron ore. They run in for some of the minerals that they process through there. So you got your 2-bay covered hopper, 3-bay covered hoppers, box cars, coal cars. It covers a lot of different freight. So that's why I kind of chose it as well. So there's a lot of different variants of cars that I can use and fiddle around with.
Rand Furley says, thumbs up. Gave me a thumbs up, so that must be a good thing.
That and I'm also, since I'm a construction worker, heavy equipment operator, I do plan on having getting as much of the maintenance away vehicles that I can, and type of equipment as well. Some of the newer stuff, some trucks and different things. I'll probably have a little scene or something. I'm sure, maintenance away scene as well. But I enjoy doing it. It's just a lot of thinking, scratch building, painting, detailing, artistry work. Just it works your brain. It works your brain, and it's not so much challenging to be a great artist or a great designer or anything like that. It's just something to do, and it's challenging for your own brain to come up with things to build and paint and look at least somewhat realistic. So at least you kind of get the point across that what you're trying to project.
Yeah, so. I agree with you 100%. It comes down to and it's the things that happen when you're laying down in the middle of the night.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Wait a minute, I can.
Or like with that sandpaper thing, I'm using the sandpaper for the silos. I was holding on to a piece of old dirty sandpaper, and I was like, that's what I want it to look like. I want my cement plant to look rough like that, and because I thought about maybe using grit, sand and things like it. I tried it for a road thing and it didn't come out right. But I 200. I think it's 200 grit sandpaper works really well for N scale, and then you do the same thing on cardboard as you do on the sandpaper and with your paint, and just keep your lines horizontal and mix your paints together, and it comes out. And it looks pretty nice. It just gives you that little bit of sight, of the roughness that you're trying to project concrete, So
Yeah.
looks cool.
Dwight of Northern Star Railroad Line says, I came in late. What gauge? Well, I'm glad you asked that, Dwight.
N scale.
This is an N scale layout. This gentleman is Gary Corbin.
I try to project that, in my videos, I guess too. I put N scale. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell until you put a hand on there. Some people, it's hard to tell. Is that N scale or HO scale?
Yeah.
Even though it's twice the size, but.
This Dwight is Gary Corbin, and his YouTube channel is called, aptly enough, Gary Corbin. Yeah. And also the Rat Pack Route.
Pack Rat Route. Yeah, Pack Rat Route.
And that's the underlying name. And he's doing a whole in a 13 by 13 room and N scale layout. So it's coming along quick. Plus, he also does 3 days a week of
kidney dialysis.
Yeah. So, he's out there, moving and grooving, as they would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so
staying alive,
right? So, he's doing his thing. He's overcoming and adapting and incorporating model railroading into it. So, what's going to be the name of the cement plant? Do you have a name picked out?
I'm thinking Rathbones. I'm going to try to kind of keep with the rat, a little comical twist on the Pack Rat Route, and go like Rathbones, and then have Ratcliffs, and maybe have Rothschilds, or just try to come up with quirky little names like that. I was thinking about having a bar on it somewhere and call it Pack Rats or something, or Ratties, or just goofy, something correct. Yeah. Something, just goofy stuff like that. Just to make it fun, so.
Oh, that's cool. Well, Gary, thank you so much for being on.
You bet. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And a no-name person like me.
No name. Now you're going to be famous.
Yeah. Whatever. Really. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. That'll never happen.
Well, you'll be famous, at least one person in Australia. So one person in Australia, and that's good, because then you're worldwide. But I think you guys out there, tell your friends about Gary Corbin's YouTube channel. Subscribe to him, get out there and hit him with the comments, the thumbs up, the yeses and the likes, and share your knowledge if you run an N scale or just in model railroad. Get in touch with Gary. He's really personable, as you can tell. Heck of a guy. So, and stuff like that. Once again, tomorrow night, Thursday, June 6th, is going to be Johnny's Train Talk. So you guys are welcome to come stop in the general store down at Johnny's. Pull up a chair, play some checkers, and talk about model railroading. And you too can be a part of this, just like we're doing right now. It's open to the community. So you guys, if you're working on a project, you have something you want to talk about in regards to something you're doing or that you're having a problem with and you need an answer to, not that we may not have it, but we do know a lot of people who do know a lot of stuff. So we could put you in touch with them. But just come on in and share the hobby and have a nice talk. It starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it goes on for about an hour, depending on the subjects that are being discussed, and everybody has a good time. So, Gary. Oh, yeah. And if anybody, we had a little accident yesterday. John was doing some background screens of a general store, and he accidentally put his hand through a fictitious make-believe Model T when he was pointing to the calendar. So, anybody knows where we can get one of those Model T windshields. But anyway, that's another story. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you, Gary, once again for making time available to talk.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. All out. The honor was us. Thank you, John, again for great production, behind the scenes stuff. And thank you, community out there, because if you
Yeah.
ain't watching, we're just talking to dead air.
Thanks everybody out there. Yep.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you on the radio.
See you guys.